In 2022, something historic happened. Colombia, a close ally of the U.S. and a conservative country for decades, elected a left-wing and anti-imperialist president. Gustavo Petro, a former guerrilla fighter, economist, and social leader, promised to break with the old system and give power back to the people. In this video, we explore what Petro has done so far, what makes his government so different, and what challenges he faces. A victory against the system. Petro's win was not just political, it was a popular movement. He got strong support from workers, students, indigenous groups, black communities, and social movements. He won more than 11 million votes, and his vice president, Francia Marquez, is a black woman, feminist, and former gold miner. A government of change, domestic policy. Petro passed a tax reform that made the rich and large companies pay more. Tax increases were targeted at extraordinary profits from oil and mining companies, high net worth individuals and top earners, sugary drinks and ultra-processed foods, a public health initiative. It's the first major tax shift in decades aimed at redistribution, moving away from growth through tax breaks toward a model of fiscal justice. For the elites, this felt like an attack. But for ordinary Colombians, it was the first step to a fairer country. Petro also started a land reform to give land to poor farmers and reduce the power of big landowners. The government has purchased and redistributed over 150,000 hectares of land, prioritizing rural poor, indigenous, and Afro-Colombian communities. The target is 500,000 hectares by 2026. Involves voluntary land sales in cooperation with FEDEGAN, the powerful cattle ranchers federation, and it's part of the Total Peace strategy. Land for peace. Petro is changing the healthcare system by removing private companies and making it more public and local. The reform proposes eliminating the EPS intermediaries and replacing them with public regional health networks. Focus on preventive care and local clinics and creation of community health centers in rural and marginalized areas. In education, over 200,000 new students have entered public universities, many of them for the first time in their families. Free tuition for public universities, targeting low-income students and emphasis on inclusion, indigenous languages, and decolonial curricula. For many people, these changes mean dignity, hope, and a chance to build a better life. Colombia has faced war for decades. Petro wants to stop the violence not with more war, but with talks, respect, and social investment. His total peace policy includes negotiations with guerrillas, paramilitary groups, and even drug cartels. Peace talks launched with multiple armed groups, ELN, FARC dissidents, paramilitaries, and criminal networks, focus on territorial agreements, economic development, and restorative justice. It's a bold move. Some say it's risky, but Petro believes peace comes from justice, not bullets. Foreign policy. Anti-imperialism on the global stage. Petro changed Colombia's foreign policy. Instead of following Washington, he is building ties with other countries in the global south. Petro has distanced Colombia from its traditional role as a U.S. ally in Latin America. He openly criticizes the war on drugs as a failure that fueled violence and empowered mafias, and condemns U.S. military bases in Colombia as a violation of sovereignty. He helped rebuild UNASUR in South America. Strengthened ties with China, Colombia joined the Belt and Road Initiative in 2025, talks on bi-oceanic railways and infrastructure corridors, and enhanced trade and tech cooperation with Beijing. Supports Latin American unity through CELAC, works closely with leaders like Lula, Brazil, López Obrador, and Claudia Sheinbaum, Mexico. The government broke diplomatic ties with Israel, calling the war in Gaza a genocide. His stance gained praise from pro-Palestinian movements and human rights organizations, what marked Colombia's most radical foreign policy shift in recent memory. Petro wants to lead a new green economy and asked rich countries to cancel debt in exchange for protecting the planet. At global climate meetings, he called for an end to fossil fuel extraction and spoke out against what he calls green colonialism. Challenges and contradictions. But not everything is easy, even with popular support and a clear intention of build a way to make Colombia free from imperialism. Congress blocks many reforms, what forces the call for popular support in the streets, often seeking legitimacy against the shady deals of the Colombian elite. Violence in rural areas is rising again. The economy is under pressure during the energy transition. Some social groups feel frustrated with the slow pace of change, and the media, mostly owned by the rich, is pushing hard against Petro. Gustavo Petro is not just the president of Colombia. He represents a bigger fight, a fight against imperialism, against inequality, and for the people. His government is not perfect, but for the first time in a long time, many Colombians feel they have a voice. Is this the beginning of a new Latin American revolution, or it will stop just as a progressist government managing the capitalism in Colombia? And don't forget, like the video and subscribe the channel to keep thinking the world how it really is.